about no approval needed. So, how many of us crave approval from someone else? Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, so I'm up there. How many people question an outfit that they're wearing until someone tells them it looks nice on them, or they look good? How many people don't feel loved until family members tell them they're loved, or someone else tells them they're loved? Probably most of us, at some time or another, had to be valued by somebody else to feel value in ourselves. How many people have painted a picture, sewn an outfit, sang a song, did a little dance, and didn't feel good about it until someone came up and complimented them on that? How many of us get compliments and immediately deflect them? Yeah, exactly. I do that with art. I do that with lots of things. I used to do it way more. And the reason being is the self-love, the self-worth, the self-esteem wasn't there. It didn't exist. In fact, probably all of us can have that claim to fame of high school, when we were at our most vulnerable, when everything was going wrong with the body. It was growing too fast, too slow, too pimply, too hippie. We were developing too fast or not fast enough. Lots of reasons physically to not feel enough. I can only imagine what it's like today to have a phone showing us an unrealistic expectation that self-esteem must even be harder to develop. So as a society, we do tons of things, don't we, to help kids with their self-esteem because of things we went through. So we give participation, little trophies to kids that play soccer, instead of medals to the best ones. We try to find ways to build the self-esteem of everyone by making them feel included, making them feel special. And it's funny because I hear from a lot of people, my generation, that what are they doing that for? We never did that. You know, you're in dramatic. You didn't just get it for showing up. You know, that there has to be winners. There has to be winners. There's got to be losers. That's just the way it goes. Well, didn't that create a self-worthy society? I think we can all admit that it wasn't the ideal that we thought it was, because we just follow constructs because that's the way it was. And constructs are just those ideas of society is put forth that we follow, right? Certain clothes are considered not proper to wear to a church or a center, or to wear to school. I remember my daughter was standing in the mirror once with her hands down, and I asked her what she was doing, and she said, well, I can't wear shorts beyond, or that aren't shorter than when I hold my hands to the side of my fingertips. That blew me away, because when my sisters went to school, even earlier than me, hot pants were a thing, and platform shoes. So it just seems funny how these constructs keep coming around and biting us, and we keep trying to live up to them. Women of a certain age shouldn't have long hair. Women of a certain age shouldn't wear funky clothing or mini skirts or high heels. Why? The color of this spring, I believe, is a fuchsia pink. Why? Do we ever question these constructs that we all live by? Somebody just thinks up, you know what, we need a whole new set of clothes, so let's move from the soft jello we were doing last year to fuchsia pink. It's to sell stuff. And yet, we will knock ourselves out to get that outfit or to look that particular way. Why? Because we need to feel like we belong to have self-worth. If we stand out, somebody might say something to us. about us, and then somebody's going to tell us about it. What would it be like if you could let that go? What would it be like if you felt good enough about yourself that you could walk out that door to wherever you were going and feel like $1,000,000? How would it be if you went to that place, came home, and realized no one paid you a compliment? Would it still be okay? Would you still have had a fun time, or would you lie in bed going, oh, you know what, why did I ever wear that? No one said they liked it. No one said they liked my new haircut. No one said they liked who I brought with me. No one said they liked the music. We just are continually looking for that validation. So what does that validation give us? Love, community, belonging. We are social beings. We crave that connection with other people. And in that craving comes all those other things. All those needs of approval, all those needs of being told I'm good enough, all those things that we think give us value. But they don't. Because they don't mean a thing if you can't receive them. Now, I think I've shared this before. I'm a terrible receiver, like the world's worst. I would get a gift and immediately it was too expensive, shouldn't have spent that money on me. I probably can't wear it, or I'd come up with some other thing. Horrible receiver. My daughter put together a compilation of Christmas mornings, and she kind of did like little vignettes. And so she had 10 Christmases of me opening a gift, looking like this. Why did you do this? Why would you spend this money on this? Like, this is ridiculous. You know, I would have been happy with the garlic press, which I got this year. I wasn't that happy. But when you think about it, right? I looked at that and I was in tears because I realized that I was teaching her about self-worth and my son. And I was also teaching them what I was worth. So in watching that condensed, I made a promise. I didn't care what it was, and I was totally loving about the garlic press this year. But I made sure that no matter what I received, whether I perceived it to be too expensive or not quite me or whatever it was, that I was going to be the best darn receiver that had ever woken up on a Christmas morning. And you know what? I loved it. I felt happier. I didn't spend the rest of the day thinking, why they didn't have that money? Why did they do that? Why did they express? Because I remembered what it was like to give a gift that I was really excited about. And I really thought this person was going to love it. And I got that response. And then you'd have to convince them that they were worth the gift. Oh no, and then so what you would do is you would start running down your gift. So you'd say, oh, it didn't cost that much. I got it on sale. I paid, it was 75% off and I had a coupon. So we would just run that gift down to make them feel worthy of taking the gift. So what are some weird things you've apologized for? I've apologized for wearing a dress, not wearing a dress, wearing a short dress, wearing a dress maybe a little too long, wearing a dress that showed cleavage, showing a dress that was very modest. I've apologized for every outfit I've ever worn. Anybody relate? I've apologized for hairdos. I've apologized for being late. I've apologized for being early. I've apologized for being right. Anybody done that one?
A lot.
A lot. So, you know, don't we apologize for weird stuff? Right? We all apologize for weird stuff. Yeah, I we apologize to our children, we apologize to our parents. Right? What would it be like if we didn't feel the need to apologize? If we claimed what we don't do well, we just put it out there, and it's okay. And that was what we were talking about the first week I spoke about the shame. We're trying to hide stuff. We're trying to be secretive. We're trying to be ignore those things about ourselves that we don't like. So we either apologize for them, but what would it be like if you claimed it? So, what if you're late all the time? Right? You know you're late. You try everything you can to get out that door in time, but you're not. So your first thing to say every time you go somewhere is, "So sorry I'm late." Now, you may be on your way over, worked up a story. Okay, I'm going to say my car didn't start. And then I'm going to say I couldn't find something. You create this whole story to cover the fact that you're just a person that leaves late. So what would it be like if you came in and said, you know, there I go, left the house too late, but I'm here now, let's get going. There's no shame in that. There's no continual apologies. People will get to understand that they'll tell you the wrong time so you show up on time, which is a habit our family's gotten into. I tell everybody Christmas dinner's an hour early. They're all there, except they're catching on now. So they're like, oh, she says 5, and I know it's 6. So, but we all do things like this. So if I was to say, Peter, I don't really love your pink hair. How would you feel about that statement? Probably wouldn't care, right? Because you don't have pink hair, right? So we don't care about those things people say about us that we don't feel deep down are true, right? So if I compliment Peter on pink hair, or Tria on being 6'4", whatever it is, you don't have any emotional connection to it. So what happens when we do? What is it usually about?
Pride.
What was that?
Pride.
Pride, but it also could be if someone says or criticizes something you believe about yourself somewhere down deep. So Tria's not upset if I compliment her on being 6'2", because she has absolutely no trigger in her emotional thing about being 6'2". It's not something she thinks about. But we all have something that we've been criticized about, or we feel someone's going to see that shows us what we think about ourselves, or what truth we're really holding, right? What if we put that out? What if we shone the light on it? You know, a little bit like I did with the receiving, a little bit like in anything that we stand up here and admit to. What would it be like if you were in a place to be vulnerable and say, you know what? That's something I think inside, I believe, and I try to hide. I try to pretend it's not there. And in doing so, we have these emotional outbursts, and we eat, or we do a multitude of things to keep them secret. Keep any of you from finding out. Keep our families from finding out. Keep our children from finding out. Right? And we do it even in our businesses. When something comes up, when a history that keeps being repeated or keeps being stated, there's a shame there. There's something that people want to hide. And it's very interesting because when those things are brought to light, when those things are exposed and saying, you know, I'm still carrying this thought, once the light is brought to it, it goes away. Does anybody here watch Ted Lasso? Yeah, Jeff? Well, then I'm going to have a little explaining to do because this is my story. It's a really great series on Apple. It is all about kindness. It's also about British soccer, which I love. So what was interesting about this character is he's a coach from America that gets hired to go be a coach of a premier soccer team. But he's a football coach from the States. Two totally different sports. Couple of seasons you see him work into this, but he's willing to give it a try. He's open to the idea of giving his best to this. One of his main things is kindness. And he believes in kindness at all costs, which might seem a little different for a coach, because we usually get the coaches that are, swearing and angry and all that stuff. Maybe it was just me. But what is interesting about this was there was, in the latest show, he had a coach that worked for him, very insecure person, who went to coach another team. And this person was so insecure that his whole thing was to run Ted Lasso, the coach of the other team, down every opportunity he got, because he thought as long as he was pointing a finger at this person's mistakes and problems and issues, no one was going to look at him. No one was going to judge him. So he did. He was at a press conference, and he said horrible things about this Ted Lasso coach. And everybody came around Ted and said, you've got to get back. You've got to say how he was just this low person on the totem pole. You need to be angry for us. You can pump up the team. So he listened, and he goes into the press conference, and they ask him about what this other coach had said about him. And he said, you know what? Yeah, it's kind of true. I don't know much about this. I'm learning as much as I can about yours football, but I'm certainly not technical like him, but I have some great ideas, and we're winning, and we're moving forward. And he said, and yeah, I have anxiety. He said, I think we all witnessed my panic attack last year where I had to leave the field. And he starts to make jokes about how bad of a coach am I? And he would get the press to respond. I'm so bad, I didn't know a halfback from a forward. And by a bit into this, the press starts to laugh. The whole building starts to laugh. He took his shame, he took his awkwardness, he took that what was trying to be used against him, and he just said, yeah, this is me, this is what you get. No shame, total self-worth. In a situation that we would probably all curl up in fetal position on the floor and want to run away from. So I love that show because it showed me that we always have a choice. When we're triggered by someone, when someone hits that thing of such insecurity in us, that we can take that moment, think about it, and realize nothing to do with them. It's me that's thinking about this. It's me that's believing this. It's me that needs to deal with this issue. So what is it? What is that thing that you look in the mirror and you judge yourself on? Or you go out and you say and you judge yourself on? Or you eat or you drink or you at work and you make a mistake and you judge yourself on that? Well, what is our teaching? Perfect, whole, and complete. There is nothing in this room that isn't made of spirit. It's in absolutely everything, including each one of you. So if you are made of spirit, how can there be these issues? How can you not feel worthy? As the people say, that the same minerals that exist in your body are found in stars. You're the things of stardust. How can you not feel worthy? How can you love spirit and not love yourself? But we do. We do it all the time. Because when we do that judging, we're looking at this reality, not the real reality. There's colors in this room that we will never see with our eyes, unless we happen to have a crystal in the window that shows us all the beautiful hues that are actually here surrounding us. We don't get to see the beauty of how our body works without us even thinking about it. Digesting, sleeping, secreting, whatever it is. This beautiful mechanism that works all the time. And yet, we're judging it, right? There will never be another person that looks like you, maybe a little bit of a doppelganger, but nobody that is exactly, looks like you, moves through you, has the experience of you. Just think of someone in your life, right? Maybe someone that no one considered stunning or extra special or did something magnificent. Think of that person right now. They were special to you. Was their life not worth all the accolades we can give it? I think it's so interesting because we can extend that to other people. We don't give it to ourselves. I watched Megan Trainor, who's a singer, and she was stealing, famous singer, sells tons, top 40. She was being interviewed and she said low self-esteem was really an issue for her. And one of the things she wanted to do, because she just had a new child, was she did not want to pass that sense of self-loathing onto that child. So she went to a therapist, and the therapist suggested she stand 5 minutes naked in front of a mirror and smile at herself. And she said the first 3 days she shook like a leaf and could hardly make eye contact with herself. And then she said something shifted. By day 4, she was like, you know what? That's actually pretty hot. I think that is a pretty nice hip, and that left butt cheek is pretty exceptional, if I must say so myself. She started to fall in love with her when she started to challenge the image. And then she realized that the image was in her head. It wasn't in reality. None of us look like we think we do. We look beautiful. And Spirit is moving through this room going, I love that creation. Sylvie was a magnificent moment in time. I am so happy I created this. Each and every one of you are looked at, just like you looked at your babies or special people in your lives. That's what Spirit's doing every single day. And can you imagine the hurt? I know the hurt I had when my kids would judge themselves. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, don't forget how gorgeous you are. Your skin springs. You know, there's no dents when you put your finger in your arm or anything. Like, you're gorgeous. And yet, right? So hard on themselves. Or I didn't get that promotion, or I didn't get that audition, didn't get the part that I went out for. Whatever it is, we all do it. But we can be gentle with each other. We can allow people space to say, you know what? I know you're being really nice, but I'm having trouble with that compliment because I feel this way. The minute you share that with someone you really trust, it becomes lighter. It's not something you're trying to hide. One of the best things I think is getting rid of secrets. And when we do our classes, a fair amount of our work hopefully is being vulnerable with each other. And that's why we have an ironclad rule about nothing is shared outside the class that is said in the class, to allow the opportunity to shed the shame, to get rid of it. Because it serves us no purpose as spiritual beings trying to manifest the life we want if we're carrying those things with us. Because what do? They stop us from raising our frequencies. They stop us from being happy and joyful and knowing that we deserve the best in life. You can't attract what you don't feel about yourself. It does not work that way. You can say manifestations till the cows come home, but if you don't feel it, If you don't expose a part of yourself that believes you're not worthy of it, it is not showing up. It's just not going to show up. So you want it, do the work. Get rid of those things that no longer serve you, those ideas, those things people said to you when you were 5, 25, 35, whatever it was. Get rid of them. Write a letter. Say, boy, were you wrong. I'm exceptional. I was stunning. Boy, you blew it. Whatever you need to do, write it, get rid of it. So there, just to go over quickly, there is 5 things you can do to help improve your self-esteem. Use positive affirmations correctly. Don't say things like, if you're feeling like you're not looking your best, just say, you don't look in the mirror and say, Julia Roberts has got nothing on me today. Because you won't believe it. You'll immediately feel like, well, that's a lie. Of course I don't feel like that. So find something that feels real to you if you're going to do a positive affirmation. Don't go for the stars. Go for one step up. You know, I think I look way better today than I did yesterday. That's all you can reach, go for it. And then build on that. 2, identify your competencies and develop them. Find those things you do well. Find those things you really do well. Peter's an amazing gardener. Write that down. You know? Audrey, beautiful quilter. Write that down. Barb, singer. Everybody has a talent. Everybody has things they're good at. Even if it's talking over coffee. Write it down. Make a list of them, and if you have trouble getting 5 today, then spend some time with yourself and really dig and start adding to it every day. 3, learn to accept compliments. Wow, we could run a workshop in this, couldn't we? And we do one where people just come up to you and just lay on compliments. You're stunning. You know, and you gotta sit there and take it. You can't say, oh no, you know. Somebody can't say, oh, I just love that. And oh yeah, oh, it was on sale, or my mother gave it to me, or like you can't do any of those things. Somebody says something nice to you. What do we say?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Love it. How about some more? We'll work up to that one. But eliminate, number 4, eliminate self-criticism and introduce self-compassion. Can you do that? So if something doesn't work out, you know, okay, it was a really busy week. I put too much on my plate. I didn't get everything done I wanted to do. Give yourself some compassion. And number 5, affirm your real worth. Don't allow people to bring you down. Don't stay with people that make you feel less than. If somebody says something critical, call them on it. You know what? I don't think I'm that. You know, I actually like my hair this way. Whatever it is, don't take it on just because someone says it. But reaffirm your self-worth to yourself. Before you get into bed, I love myself. I did really well today. I did the best I could under all of these circumstances, and I'm still here. So Spirit must have something really special planned for me to do. So I will end there, but if there's one thing I can take from you or give to you, it would be to know how beautiful you are. Every single one of you is a light that is filling this room to the point where it makes me blind. Accept that compliment and know you are so worthy, you are perfect, you are whole, and you are complete. And so it is.